Welcome back. This time we're talking about 2017 as a whole. Amazingly, we're only days away from 2018, and that means it's time to take a look back at the previous year of films, the good, the bad, the weird, and everything in between. This year, I'm going to be doing a number of rankings, including a best of 2017 over the next few days. And what we're going to start with in this video, however, is my top 5 underappreciated films of 2017. And by that I mean films that I saw and really enjoyed. I'm not saying that they're perfect examples of filmmaking and that they don't have flaws, but these are films that I really enjoyed and either got no traction at the box office, meaning pretty much no one saw them, or were pretty well bombarded by negative reviews. And in some cases, both of these happened. So these are 5 films that I want to highlight as ones that I feel pretty much got overlooked over the past year. So to kick things off, coming in at number 5 is Table 19. This is a film that earned a whopping $3.6 million at the domestic box office and is currently resting at 26% on the tomato meter on Rotten Tomatoes. So needless to say, my positive review of this film was probably one of its few. But like I prefaced this list, Table 19 is a film I really enjoyed. It's a comedy that made me laugh, made me feel other emotions, and is just genuinely a funny, enjoyable film. It's directed by Jeffrey Blitz and stars Anna Kendrick, Lisa Kudrow, Craig Robinson, and Jude Squibb, among a number of others. And it centers around a group of people who are guests at a wedding and find themselves at the worst table, Table 19. Because as one character puts it, they're the people who didn't know that they weren't expected to actually show up at the wedding, and instead were just expected to send a gift in the mail. It's not a perfect film. There are plot holes and other things, but again, this is a film I thoroughly enjoyed, and apparently very, very few people actually went and saw it. Coming in at number 4 is Before I Fall, based on the 2010 young adult novel. This one did a little better at the box office than Table 19 at a whopping $12 million, and is actually one of only 2 of the 5 films on this list to have a positive rating on Rotten Tomatoes at 63%. In my original review of this film, I sort of shorthandedly called it Groundhog Day with Teenage Girls, but I immediately followed that by saying that that description doesn't do this film justice at all. The story follows a young girl in high school on a day that she's expecting to be one she'll remember forever, but ultimately becomes her last when she dies in a car accident, only to wake up the next day and begin repeating the same day over and over again. This was actually one of 2 films this year that revolved around a similar plot, the other being Happy Death Day, and I actually didn't get around to seeing that one. But Before I Fall, I really liked. It boasts a really strong lead performance by Zoe Deutsch, and by the end, the story itself is surprisingly emotional and has a solid payoff. Based on its box office numbers, again, I don't think this is a film many people saw in its initial run and deserves another look. Coming in at number 3 is the highest grossing film on the list, King Arthur: Legend of the Sword. This film earned $39 million at the domestic box office, and international sales drove it over a total of $100 million, but compared to its budget, this was pretty much a bomb. From a financial standpoint at least, and its 29% rating on Rotten Tomatoes means that from a critical standpoint, it pretty much was a bomb as well. For myself, I really enjoyed this film because it essentially delivered exactly what I was expecting. This is directed by Guy Ritchie, and it is essentially what I thought I was getting from a King Arthur movie directed by Guy Ritchie. And admittedly, your enjoyment of this movie will very much rely on how much you like his style of blockbuster filmmaking. If you liked the Sherlock Holmes films, if you liked the Man from U.N.C.L.E. adaptation, which I did, and once again am apparently in the minority on that, you're probably going to like this one too. Based again on the box office numbers and the deafening negative critical response, I think a lot of people skipped this one without really considering what they were going to get. So if you like Guy Ritchie's films, I think you're going to like this one. So definitely give it a shot if you haven't yet. Coming in at number 2, we have a film that did just as well at the box office as Table 19, earning $3.6 million. And that is Phoenix Forgotten, which, as I said in my original review, is essentially the Blair Witch Project with aliens. Now, I'm a huge fan of the original The Blair Witch Project, and I found this film very engaging, very entertaining, and a very good example of how to do the found footage genre right. Yes, the basic setup owes a lot to the original The Blair Witch Project, but as I like that film, I like this one too. It's currently resting at 44% on the Rotten Tomato meter, so this one was not as thrashed by the critics as some of the others on this list, but at $3.6 million at the box office, pretty much no one saw it anyway. So if you like the found footage genre, and like the idea of mixing some real world events in with a fictional story and telling a pretty engaging horror film, this is definitely one to check out, because as the box office numbers show, pretty much no one ever saw it. Rounding out the list is a film that I honestly just emotionally felt bad that it did not do better at the box office, because this is a film that nearly made my top 10 for the year, will probably be on the honorable mention list, and that is Logan Lucky, which only earned $27 million at the domestic box office. Although I am in no way in the minority on loving this film, because it does have a 92% on the Rotten Tomato meter. Directed by Steven Soderbergh, who gave us the Ocean's 11 trilogy, this is essentially the blue-collar Ocean's 11, with Channing Tatum, Adam Driver, and Daniel Craig leading a spectacular ensemble cast. This film is amazingly fun and would be my favorite caper movie if it came out any year that didn't include Baby Driver. And honestly, for me, there's not a whole lot of separation between those two films. Soderbergh reportedly financed the distribution himself, which I found to be an interesting model. And I don't know if that's to blame for why it failed so spectacularly at the box office, or if people just saw the trailers and didn't see the good movie that they were going to get. Either way, definitely check this one out if you haven't seen it, because it's a lot of fun. So that's my list of underappreciated films. For the most part, they all failed to gain a large audience at the box office, and some really didn't find a favorable audience amongst critics as well. But these were 5 films that I really enjoyed this past year and feel like most people missed them. So I just wanted to give you a chance to check out some films that you may not have heard about in 2017. And I wanted to start off my lists on a positive nature, because pretty soon we're going to be getting into my worst films of 2017 as well as my most disappointing films of 2017, and they don't always correlate. But for now, let me know in the comments below some films that you feel didn't get their due in 2017. A film that just didn't do that great at the box office, or critics just seem to hate it but you love it anyway, let me know. Either way. As always, you can subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to click the little bell button to get notifications of new videos. You can check out some of my other reviews. And until next time, I'll see you at the movies.